Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go beyond, Batman Beyond. But before we get into episode 108 of The Pull Bag, I just want to let everyone know that as of May 18th, 2015, my mom passed away. Oh, by the way, this is TFG1 Mike, in case you didn't know. I'm not doing very well with it. Emotionally, financially, all that stuff. I'm just not doing well with it. So, I just want to let everyone know, this episode of The Pull Bag was pre-recorded. It was recorded before my mom passed. It was recorded, I think, right as she went into the hospital on April 29th of this year. Enjoy, but I think after episode 109, The Pull Bag may go on a small hiatus. I just don't have the drive to edit anything. I'm not sure. I will say that we'll have this episode. We'll have the Gem issue number 2 episode with Amy, Nicole, and myself. And we'll have episode 109 wrapping up Batman Month, which is Gates of Gotham with me and JT from Saskatoon. But after that, The Pull Bag is probably going to go on a hiatus, and I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I've been doing the podcast for 3 years now. I've absolutely loved doing the podcast, and as most of you know, I do the podcasting for myself, but I've just kind of lost my way. So, I'm not sure when the show will come back. Profiling Previews is essentially canceled. I just don't have the drive to get the work done. My mom was a big part of my life, so I don't know. But anyway, enjoy episode 108 of The Pull Bag, where we go to the Justice Lord's timeline in Batman Beyond.
Hi, this is Kevin Conroy, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Why, hello there. Joker here, and I want to welcome you to the second annual Batman Month here, inside the Pull Bag. Hey, wait, this is my 75th anniversary. Why does the bat get all the attention? Where's the month dedicated to me? Anyways, this year, TFG1 Mike brings in Steve Megatron once again, Jeremy Fine and JT from Saskatoon as they discover the many facades of Batman. This year, we aren't going batshit crazy, but we are covering 3 very different Batman. Bruce Wayne in Mad Love, Terry McGinnis in the Batman Beyond books, and Dick Grayson in Gates of Gotham. So tune into Channel Joker for all things Motherfucker. So tune into Channel Joker for all the bat-worshipping you can handle. The joke's on me, apparently, for my 75th anniversary. So jump inside my garbage scow and listen to the second annual Batman Month here, inside the Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is the second annual Batman Month here inside The Pull Bag, and this is episode 108, where we're going to be talking about Batman Beyond 2.0, Justice Lords Beyond. I am your host, TFG1 Mike. Joining me is JT from Saskatoon. Hello.
Good day to you.
How are you?
Allergies are finally clearing up. We've got Batman comics to talk about. The new superpowered beatdown has been posted today, so aces.
Yeah. Are you ready to kneel before Lord Superman?
I'd rather chuck a kryptonite boomerang at him, but
The Justice Lords hail from an alternate universe where the Justice League decided to enforce law and order through any means necessary and then took it too far, becoming despots. Years ago, the Justice League defeated them, and Wonder Woman returned to their world with them to make sure they stayed in check. But something went wrong. Now Wonder Woman is back in the world of Batman Beyond, and Superman and Bruce Wayne sense that she is hiding something, as Terry McGinnis takes a dangerous trip to the Justice Lord's world to find out
Wonder Woman's secrets, and encounters a version of himself whose life took a very different path. The Justice Lords return to our Earth in search of Wonder Woman. Can the Justice League of the future hope to defeat versions of themselves that are just as powerful but more ruthless? Or will the world of the future become another conquest for Lord Superman? Writers Kyle Higgins, Nightwing, Christos Gage, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, and artist Tony Silas from Venom and Dexter Soy from Captain Marvel take the fan-favorite villains from the Justice League animated series into the world of Batman Beyond and transform them into the Justice Lords Beyond. This collects Batman Beyond Universe number 9 through 12. Last week on Batman Month, Steve and I talked about Batman Beyond 2.0 Rewired, which is the first two storylines in the Kyle Higgins run of the Batman Beyond stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely love that stuff. Here, when I saw that I've never really noticed, or I need to go back and reread the Justice League Beyond stuff, because I know you know this, some other people may not know this, but in 2012, when the Batman Beyond Unlimited and Justice League Unlimited digital series were happening, that's where this is continuing from. It's a continuing story from that. I have not read the Brainiac story that this comes from, but I didn't really need to at the time when I was reading this because it's a crossover between the two books now. And I just absolutely love this. When I was reading this digitally every Saturday when it was coming out last year, there are moments in this trade paperback, folks, that nearly destroy my emotions. You want to talk about writers who can just basically nail you to the wall. Christos Gage and Kyle Higgins have done that. Kyle Higgins a little bit more so than Christos Gage, because Kyle obviously is writing the Batman Beyond stuff, but oh my god, what was your first impressions of this story arc when you first read it?
Well, I mean, first of all, for those that haven't, and especially I would recommend it to you, Mike, read the Brainiac storyline. It's one of those, this is why comics are awesome kind of stories. But when I first started reading this storyline in the digital installments, like between the Batman and the Justice League 2.0 series, I've always loved this concept. Like that episode, the Justice Lords episode of Justice League is great because this is the mirror universe of DC animation. Like whereas in Star Trek, you got evil goateed Spock and the Confederation or something. That might be misremembering that. This is that. Like it's the evil versions of Justice League. And the best thing about characters like this are when they're not necessarily like they're not completely 100% straight up evil. It's like Magneto and the X-Men. Like you understand where the villains are coming from, and I've always enjoyed villains like that, and that's something that I enjoyed about the Justice Lords episode, because Lord Superman is like, well, you'll just keep coming at us, Luthor. Snap, or laser vision to the heat vision to the face. It's just I love the fact that you're bringing back the evil Justice League. It's not the crime syndicate. It's not, an alternate dimension where the Justice League were always villains. It's like they started out heroes, and they're all Anakin Skywalker basically. They all went to the dark side.
God. At least none of them are as emo as Anakin was.
Well, true.
Thank God.
Just remember, it's Revenge of the Fifth. But no, like I said, I just love this storyline. Again, Christos Gage can do no wrong in this series. I haven't read a lot of his other work, but I was never disappointed in his characterizations writing the Batman Beyond, and Kyle Higgins did Batman.
Kyle does Batman. Oh. Christos does Justice.
Okay, but Christos and Kyle, like they're like the reincarnations of Paul Dini and Bruce Timm in my eyes, like with this series. So
yeah, they kind of are, and it's because that they paid so much attention to the DC Animated Universe, and this is DC Animated Universe continuity. I even asked Kyle Higgins, I said, so the whole run takes place, the whole series of Batman Beyond Unlimited, or not, Batman Beyond Universe, Batman Beyond 2.0, whatever you want to call it, takes place in between the events of Return of the Joker and Epilogue. Because this is the second volume trade for this series. There's supposed to be one more trade coming out, according to the editor Alex Antone. And that final trade will be the Mark of the Phantasm arc. And I remember asking Kyle on Twitter, I said, so Mark of the Phantasm is basically the story after Return of the Joker, but before the epilogue episode in Justice League Unlimited. And this here, just bringing back the Justice Lords and finding a way to combine the two books and do a crossover, this is done so, so well.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love it. I remember not knowing what to think when I saw the solicits for issue number 9, or the first part, basically part 1, because how we're going to do this, folks, is we're going to talk about parts 1 and 2 in one clip, and then 3 and 4 in another clip. So before we get into parts 1 and 2, I remember when I first saw the cover for part 1, which is that metallic Trevor McCarthy cover for issue 9,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, what has happened to my Batman Beyond? What have you people done? The Trevor McCarthy, amazing cover artist. Love that guy. He does great stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, you got anime all over my Batman Beyond. And, or it's like, you got anime in my Tron. You got Tron in my anime. You know,
Yep.
but yeah, it's an absolutely gorgeous cover. You know, I'm sure if there was like a Robo Alfred, he'd be bitching and complaining about having to polish this thing, but...
Well, there's a Robo Alfred in another Batman Beyond title, but I don't know if that's going to continue, because I have not paid attention to Batman New 52 Futures End. I remember reading the New 52 Futures End number 0, the Free Comic Book Day issue last year, and it was a Alfred computer in Terry's cowl or whatever it is.
In the suit, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. That's such a great way to bring Alfred back into the fold. When the new series written by Dan Jurgens comes out here soon, I don't know if that's going to continue or not, because I had not kept up with Future's End, because Future's End, to me, I read the first 4 issues. There wasn't enough Batman Beyond in it for me.
Yeah.
It was too much other crap that I didn't care about. So we're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear the final moments, the final scene of A Better World Part 2 from Justice League Unlimited. So you're going to hear that, and then we're going to come back and pick it up with this story right after this.
Wow, Soups, you really know how to bring down the house.
Can't do it, can you? I'm the last piece of your conscience. And this is the one thing you'll never do.
I've done a lot of things I thought I'd never do these last 2 years. One more won't hurt. Hold it! Nice company you're keeping. Must be your true colors. It's just one of the hard choices I've had to make today. Go for it.
Oh, yes.
It's a power disruptor, and yours are now gone.
This would be so sweet. But a deal's a deal.
What deal? A full pardon in exchange for his help. Everything he does from now on is your fault! It's a high price, but it's better than the alternative. I knew you wouldn't be able to change his mind.
Yeah? How?
Because I've felt the same temptations he has. They're pretty strong.
So you're not such a Boy Scout after all.
Never even made it to my first merit badge.
Alright, folks, so first up is part 1 of the 4 parts of the story here, Justice Lords Beyond. And we start out in what looks like to be our Neo-Gotham. But it isn't. We have the Joker, and basically what they're doing here, what Kyle is kind of doing here, and what, because I believe these first few pages were, well, actually all the Batman Beyond stuff is done by Tony Silas. It's the other crossover that only a few of the first pages are his. But anyway, the next story. Anyway, what they're basically doing here is they are retelling the very first scene of Batman Beyond with Terry on the train, with the Jokers on the train,
with Rebirth. That's the first thing I noticed reading this, and I love the art on here because it's reminiscent of the Bruce Timm style. I mean, they even have that. It's like, what do you want? Payment for the joke you just bought. And you can almost hear the laughter. Yeah, I mean, the only thing was missing. Yes, you did. Right there. You almost hear that, and then then they get tossed off, and not from a mile up in the goddamn sky. Like, it's just like right in the sidewalk, and these security guards are trying to rough them up, and then Red Hat here pulls a gun, and him and the other one escape, and. And here's the other thing. I don't know if you saw this, but the scene where they jump over the edge into this rubble, and they're sitting there and they're divvying up the cash. That reminded me of that scene from the beginning of '89 Batman. It was like,
what are you? I'm Batman.
Yeah. It's like American Express. Don't go anywhere without it.
What about the Batman? There ain't no friggin' I remember that guy so vividly because he's one of the only actors I've ever seen able to actually enunciate words at the same time, moving a cigarette up and down in his mouth.
Oh yeah,
as he's enunciating.
That's dedication to his craft right there.
But so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I love the kind of slow burn reveal. The red cap. It says like 6 of the trains fastest out of the city. Loaded with creds, and he's taking off his mask, and it's Terry fucking McGinnis.
It's a blonde Terry. What's going on here?
Bum, bum.
And that's right then that you can tell that this is not our universe.
This ain't your daddy's Batman Beyond.
Nuh-uh.
And then we get some of the clowns. We get like the black clown with the top hat that character model showed up a few times throughout the run of the cartoon series. Then we got
pretty much all the character models here for the Jokers are what we've seen in the cartoon series. They're just the people who are behind the masks are kind of flip-flopped. Like
we got Tony Montana Joker here, because that's the only way that I could describe like the purple coat there. He just looks like he's like, he doesn't even seem like a Joker, whereas everyone's like kind of crazy and getting off on the chaos and the anarchy. This guy's he just screams drug dealer. He doesn't scream psychotic clown prince of some sort of crime. And then there's like was it Chucko is like that the big balding Joker from Return of the Joker. You kind of see him in the pink there, but yeah. So basically, this McGinnis owes money to Tony here, and his basically what they stole from the train pays off his buddy's part because Tony's got it out for Terry anyhow. You know, he's like, well, you still owe. And all that. You're 2 months late, and I can pull down 3 times what I owe you. And all of a sudden, it's Han Solo bartering with Jabba.
Yeah, place and you know, no lies. I've got a place, and it's loaded. And we go to this place, and this is something I was not expecting because when Steve and I talked about Rewired last week, I had completely forgotten that we had seen Mrs. McGinnis and Matt in that first story with Terry in this story arc. So I was so not expecting. So this is what it's come to. I was so not expecting an alternate universe of Mary McGinnis, and she just looks. Oh my God,
beat.
She just looks beat to hell.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's one of the best things about this. The Batman Beyond, like this Just Slur thing, is like the 1-2 punch to the gut, like an emotional punch that this Terry is so far off the tracks. He's busted into his own mom's home and he's stealing from her. You know, and you see that like in the pain in her face and everything, and when she, you know, go ahead, fine, he's like slapping her around kind of, and you see it hurt him, and she's broken up, and just wow.
Yeah, it's friggin' crazy. So we go back around the corner, and you know, Terry says dead end, and we see a jokered up looking 10, and I'm like, interesting. And they act like she and Terry are an item, but as they split up, she and the other Joker are holding hands. So, was it a threesome? Was it? I don't know what it was.
I think he's friendly with her, but in this universe, they're just friends. It's not like they've got that connection that we see in the animated series and later on in Batman Beyond 2.0. So yeah, they go off, and then Terry looks into a mirror. A warped, raven-haired mirror.
Well, wait a minute here. No, so after they walk off, you know, T says, "Oh, I am so screwed," and he's walking off, and we see his shadow, and we see a voice out of the corner. Terry, what the? Listen to me. I need your help. And I remember that's where the first digital chapter ended, and I was like, God damn you writers. Why does this have to only be a weekly series? Why can't this be a daily series? Because it was killing me waiting for this.
Yeah, that's like the rub of a lot of the weekly comics that Marvel and DC have been putting out the last couple of years. Is like sometimes there's just this. It's something that's been going on in popular culture since the 30s. I mean, movie serials and such back in the day would purposely leave you on a cliffhanger. So I kind of, with the digital chapters, I take that as this is, you know, kind of a nod towards that.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. That's one of the reasons why I have not bought any of the Flash Season 0 yet. I'm waiting for a trade on that, if they ever do a trade for it, because I want to read it, because we all love the TV show, but I still want to read that. I just don't want to have to read it in digital or regular separate print, so waiting for the trade on that is not hindering me at all. So in the trade here, it goes, instead of going to be a continued thing or whatever, it goes straight to the Batcave in our universe. And we see Wonder Woman, and we see Old Man Bruce, and she's just shocked. That look on her face is like, oh my God, he's so old.
Oh God, he's so old. Yeah, no, I like that. He's like, I'm old. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, oh, Bruce, you pimp.
Now, I should say this part of the story is written by Christos Gage, and the art is done by Dexter Soy. So the art is going to be completely different when you look at when you look at the Batman Beyond suit.
Yeah.
Because it just is. I mean, you know, Dexter has his own style, just like Tony Silas has his own style. So
and that kind of works because I mean, whereas very much a lot of the Batman story takes place in, you know, in Justice Lord's universe, or since it's this universe is now technically canon in the greater DC multiverse, the Earth 50.
Okay.
So in like the Justice Lord's Earth 50, we got that art style, and then we go back to the main universe, and it's got a different look, and it kind of helps just to differentiate, where we are with the story, which is something that I've appreciated.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we go back, and Diana's all like, "Damn,
you old."
Yeah.
And then we go to outside. We go to Superman and Batman on the roof, and they're basically for new readers, they're telling everybody the story of what happened in A Better World from the Justice League animated series.
Or should we say it's Eric Matthews and Shooter McGavin talking about it? Because every time, like that was what was so great about,
yeah, you're right.
Oh God, what's the actor's name that played Shooter? It's
Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, Chris McDonald and Will Friedle's portrayals are beautiful, and that's the best thing about animation is if you really latch onto a voice, you hear that in any other medium, like specifically the comics. So yeah, Shooter McGavin's given the loan, like he recaps A Better World, and I love that where they send them back and they set up that their powers are gone, but Lord Batman is going to keep an eye on things and make sure they stay out of trouble, and they would keep up tabs in this universe, and then Superman goes to prison and talk to this, and I could hear Clancy Brown saying, "It's powered by an extremely rare alien element that disrupts exotic energies. Of course, the effects do wear off after a while. Sorry, did I forget to mention that?" Like, and that I could hear Clancy Brown saying that in the same "no, because I'm evil" kind of voice.
Yeah.
But I mean, so basically, this leads into the Justice League versus the Justice Lords round 2. It's like a superhuman world war. Lord Batman's taken out.
Well, Lord Batman and Lord Superman are on two different sides.
Yeah.
Certain members of the League sided with one or the other.
It's almost like it's a civil war.
Or
Mike
if
knows,
or if you really want to go closer to the actual DC vest, it's kind of like a Crisis on Two Earths.
Ooh. Suffice to say, folks, it's Batman versus Superman writ large.
And really, if you really want to really take it down to brass tacks and do the most obvious joke, this whole thing is a flashpoint to the entire universe because it all centers around the fact that Lord Superman killed Flash.
Well,
Flash is the heart of the team.
Yeah. But unlike Flashpoint, the entire universe is rebooted into a bastardized money-making machine. But I digress. I digress.
Let's not go there.
So,
go ahead.
I was going to say, so you see like the Justice League is teaming up with Lord Batman's side, and Black Adam joins them. Or he joins Lord Superman's side. Yeah, he joined Lord Superman. And then we go to the Batcave where Lord Batman and Diana are getting close, and Superman and Batman are looking off from the side, and they're all like, "Son of a bitch!" And they basically, like, Shooter McGavin Superman. And I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about him like that. He says, Mongol attacks, their Earth, so they got to go back, but, Diana decided to stay, and eventually they lost contact, and Terry rightly asked, so which is it, our Diana or is it Lord Diana? And
they don't know.
Yeah, because Superman's like spying on them, and he honestly can't tell, and they go to the Batcave, and Superman boots up the Stargate portal, and
oh no, you're skipping over a really good point. I know, but I'm
Terry there. Sorry.
Right. And one thing that I completely love about this and the fact that it's our Bruce and our Diana, you know, she says, you know,
We're going out for a jaunt.
she says, first I'd like to see how things have changed here, if that's okay. And he says, of course. I know you don't get cold, but if you don't mind, wear this. The world still isn't aware of my other life. Ha! Secret identities I almost forgotten.
Yeah. She's like, oh, so quaint. Yeah, so they got that, and then they go out for this walk, and it's called Neo Gotham now, and we're recovering from an attack by Brainiac. And is that why everything looks like shit? And he's like, no, but Gotham. And then they get stuck up by some mech suit wearing criminal.
I don't even know who the character is supposed to be. He looks like some sort of weird cyborg spawn, but I know it's not.
Well, he's probably just some guy in like a tech suit. I mean, because in the future,
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying his colors, the way his suit looks, it kind of looks like a little bit like something what's different versions of Cyborg look like a little bit. I mean, it's even got that stupid chin strap.
Yeah. But so he tries to basically hold them up, and then Diana's like nuts to that.
Well, the funniest thing about this is when he says, Bruce says, "Son, you don't want to do this. I ain't your son." And oh yeah, I do. I do. Behave yourself, and I might even let your piece of fluff go. And now, this reminds me so much of the argument Bruce and Diana have at one point in the Justice League series, later on in Justice League Unlimited, I believe, where I think it was actually Maid of Honor, where she asks him, "Why don't you date? Why don't this?" It was that whole thing of Bruce Timm and all them playing up the fact that, hey, Bruce and Diana are dating, or they're supposedly dating, and she's, he says, the same old Bruce line, "Oh, well, if I start, seeing someone, my enemies could use that against me." And all she does is she crushes a gargoyle's head and says, "Next excuse." When she's crushing this guy's hand, that's the only thing I can think of is that same response.
So she smacks him around, and you get this very heavy, well, not heavy-handed, but it's heavily implied that maybe this isn't our Diana. And then Superman says, well, what if it is? But her time on Earth 50 has changed her instead of her changing it. And then, so he actually, I called it the Stargate before, but the way the portal looks, it's more like the time sphere from like the Terminator series. Yeah. So that's where Terry goes into, goes over to Earth 50, and we skip back not only dimensions, but in art styles.
Well, yeah, but see, this is the thing, because they did this in the point of whether you're reading one series or the other.
Yeah.
So you have to read them both. And if you're just reading the story in one or the other series, you're not going to be that big of a deal. Honestly, I don't care, because like you said earlier, we need a difference. We need to know the difference between the teams and how they look. That's why I believe they did the crossover, to have Soy's art be the core team on our universe, and then obviously have Tony's team be the other one. But so Terry gets to the Justice Lord's timeline. He does not come up. He does not arrive where he was supposed to. He is not in the Batcave. And he goes on to say, "Dick, I don't know if you can hear me, but something happened with the transport. I'm not in the Batcave. Starting the vid recorder now."
Yeah.
And the coolest thing about Tony's art for me is, when it comes to his backgrounds, is he got the purple sky right.
Oh yeah, no, he got that right, and he still has that Blade Runner-esque sense to the buildings, like for miles and miles, and he's Terry's like offhandedly talking to Dick with the voice recorder, but who's the first person he meets in this universe
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
Mirror Dick Grayson, who's apparently the leader of the Justice Lords and Security Force or something. Terry has a fight with them, and it's from the art style. It could fit well into an episode of the series, with the flying trucks and the bikes and the lasers and everything.
I don't know if you noticed this, but I noticed as soon as I saw that it was an alternate universe Dick Grayson. If you look at the panel where it says, he says, "Take off your mask and surrender." The next little panel there, he says, "Now," and you see his nameplate. I'm like, hey, that's a Judge Dredd uniform looking thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing around, like, wow.
I am Dela.
And-
Except Dick Grayson can enunciate.
Yeah. I love this, and I wish they would have explained it later in the next story that we'll talk about whenever the Mark of the Phantasm arc comes out in trade. But
Yeah.
Terry says, "Well, at least the eye thing worked out better in this timeline,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "You bastards! Come on, give us an explanation. How the hell did that happen?"
Yeah, it's just.
It's just one of those DC animated universe sticking points that it's like, okay, I just want to know, was it, did Riddler throw a question mark at? Like, it's just
It's
one of those
because
things
Dick Grayson wants to be a pirate. Everything's better with pirates.
No.
So Terry, apparently Dick's armed with some sort of EMP type weapon because it kind of knocks the suit out. And after being
much destroys the suit,
yeah, and after the crashing into this warehouse, we get another kind of cat and mouse thing, which is to me was kind of reminiscent of the second part of Rebirth, like the Batman Beyond pilot, where Terry's in the warehouse and he's got to escape from these guards. So he snags a uniform, and we skip back to Blonde Terry.
Yep.
Or Lord Terry or whatever we want to call him. And
just call him T.
Yeah. So Terry meets up with T like we saw in the first one. He passes out, and T brings Terry back to his place. And you can see from where Terry wakes up in bed, apparently T's a fan of the hooch because he's got a big old bottle of it over on his side table there. But then again, this is a darker, more violent version of Terry McGinnis, so maybe he needs the sauce to cope.
Maybe.
But at first he thinks T thinks Terry is his past self, so he starts like back to futuring, trying to figure out how this works. If the past me dies, then I don't end up so well. And then you're Lord Batman. He's like, no, it's like, I'm here to find Lord Batman. He's like, oh, sure, look out the window. And it's like, giant Lord Batman
statue.
And he's like, what? Where is he? He's like, he's dead. And Terry's, what?
And he's like, what do you mean do you know how? Everybody knows how. The Justice Lords killed him.
Yeah. And I love the expression that Guerrero put in Terry's face there. It's literally just, what? Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't expect that coming, did you, smart guy?
Nope.
And we go back to, the main universe, and Superman has brought Wonder Woman to the Justice League Watchtower. We got Shazam's in there now. We got the new Flash, Aquagirl, Warhawk.
Could
Warhawk be more of a dick?
Well, that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, when do they start filming the Aquagirl porno? I mean, she's all but bare-assed in that panel with Warhawk.
And then the next panel, it's like, damn, Aquaman's daughter got herself a job done.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, that's kind of like when Britney Spears had her job back in the day. I didn't have a boob job. Yeah, right. And money grows on trees. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it's just like...
No, I know. The crazy thing is, when you said Britney Spears, I didn't have a boob job. All I can think of is Star Jones. I didn't have...
work done.
Gastric. I didn't have gastric bypass. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like, no, I just wandered onto the set of Fight Club, and But so anyway, they're welcoming Diana back, and she's like, I need time to adjust, and Superman just basically straight up drops the bomb. Lord Batman's dead, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. And we get her story for the conflict and everything else, and I I wish we had more shots of this, but that Batwing, I want to see different angles of that goddamn Batwing. Oh man, that thing looks so cool.
Yeah. And we also see that, again, that we learn more of the differences between this and Earth 50, in that Aquaman never allied himself with the
humans.
Yeah, with the surface world. And so there's like this tentative truce, it's like, y'all don't get your shit together, I'm going to whoop you. And I'm inferring that from the art because, you got the face in shadow and he's pointing his trident at Superman, like, I will mess you up, boy. And then, so they go back to the interview, and Diana's like, there was a devastating battle. Bruce didn't survive. I was able to negotiate a peace. And, and then she's like, but it's so much better than here because, I mean, really, this city is all kinds of messed up.
And then we even get to see an Arkham.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we go back to the Happy Acres or Asylum, Arkham Asylum Happy Acres home for the clinically insane and lobotomized.
Yeah.
And I love that you see Joker's reading a story to Parasite, and Poison Ivy's watering the plants, and Cheetah's playing with a ball of string. And, I love how it, like, again, I love up until the big reveal later on in the story in regards to Wonder Woman, the way she is doing this hard sell is like, there's free elections, free speech, and yes, there are those who oppose us. And she's like, isn't it, freedom worth this cost? And then Superman's just, well, for lack of a better word, and I'm not all that poetic some days, he basically pimp slaps her with his own comeback. Is, who are you trying to convince, Diana, me or yourself? Yeah. And it's just like, oh, snap. But that's exactly how it is. And then we go back to the tower, and the Justice League they're still, Green Lantern's all uneasy about spying on Warhawk's. Like, yeah, really, dude? Because Warhawk's got no problem with this. Was it Micron and Cat? Like, they're still trying to nail down 100%, is this our Diana or is it their Diana?
Right. And we get all this back and forth between them, and then, oh my god, teleporter activating. Aren't we all here? Except for Zod, and he usually flies. Computer identify user. Authorized operator, biosignature, Superman. Superman, but he's Lord Superman to you. Oh, boy.
Yeah. And then you see, like, Mr. Miracle's there, and Bart is there. They try to shut down the teleporter, and then the rest of the Justice Lords show up, and we got a few new members now that we didn't see. Well, I mean, it's the Justice Lords Beyond.
It's all new members, pretty much, because the original members were...
it's the Beyond Lords, basically.
Right, but what I'm saying is the original members in the series were Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Wonder Woman, Superman, Martian Manhunter, and Batman.
Yeah, now we got, we got an evil Warhawk, Micron, Aquagirl, Reverse,
Black Adam.
Well, yeah, I love how with the Justice Lord, like the new Flash, Danica, they gave her the Professor Zoom Reverse Flash colors. You see Orion and Bart in the background, and Curare.
Yeah, that was a little strange for me, seeing an alternate version of Curare, and to find out that this alternate version of Curare is also the sister of the alternate Green Lantern. I'm like, oh, wow.
Which means the Curare in our universe is Green Lantern's sister, which was like, again, like I said, the 1-2 emotional gut punch that they have. Here's another one, because you see Green Lantern is all kind of WTF.
No, the WTF moment is coming up because...
Well, I mean, for Green Lantern, just that look on his face where he's like, sister? Like,
yeah.
And this is like sweet, merciful Buddha kind of Green Lantern. And he's, you see, like, because it's his ring from an alternate universe, or maybe it's because she's an assassin, whatever, like, his ring can't hold up to her ring wielding, and...
we go to the next kind of page here, and we see Lord Superman saying, "It's been a long time since I've been here, but their heroes seem as incompetent as ever. Now where? Ah, there she is. There's my lovely wife."
Bum, bum, bum. And
it's like, wow.
And again, because it was Christopher McDonald voicing Superman in Superman or in Batman Beyond that episode, I hear his voice here and that look on his face, and the first thing that pops in my head is where he invades Happy's daydream, where he pops his collar, gives him both barrels, and he starts making out with the girl. That's the first thing that went in my mind with that smile. And
but
voice.
that isn't the Christopher McDonald Superman. That's the George Newbern alternate Superman.
But because
here.
I know, I'm just thinking because it's in the Batman Beyond universe. I know it's that character. I'm just thinking I hear his voice because it's the Beyond storyline, timeline-wise, it would work, but nitpicking at best.
So that's how part 1 ends. Overall, part 1, simply amazing. The only thing I'm missing from this, and I think it's all the cover artist's fault, because for issue number 10, they have a cover here, and we'll talk about it in a second, where it's Batman Beyond, Lord Superman, Wonder Woman, some sort of Green Lantern, Lord Batman, and you have a hot girl in the upper right-hand corner of the background. And I'm like, that's the only thing this story is missing, is what the hell happened to Lord and Lady, Lord Green Lantern and Lady Hot Girl, because we never really find out. Like, I would love for somebody to do the alternate story for those two characters, for the alternate Jon Stewart and alternate Shia Hall.
I mean, they mention it in the first part of the Justice League thing where Diana says that, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl were so disgusted with what was happening that they just, check you later, and they left Earth.
Well, they do explain it, but I'm just saying,
to actually
it's like
see what happens,
Well, that, and to actually see her, like, what would Dexter Soy do with her, or if Tony Silas got a chance, how would he? I mean, this little, envision of her on the cover with the mace and the wings out, oh god, all I can think of is Wild Card.
Mm-hmm.
Will Hawkgirl ever put down that big honking mace? That's all I can think of is Joker from that. So part 2 starts off in the Justice Lord's timeline at Dick Grayson's loft, and he's watching the footage of our Terry, and we see this voice from beyond. Good, you are up. I don't want to have to drink both of these myself. And we see Barbara Gordon.
They got married! Yay!
Now, the one thing I will say about the alternate Dick Grayson, I understand they're trying to make him look a little different than what our Dick Grayson looks like, and it's a different circumstance and everything else. I'm sorry. There is way too much Mr. Fantastic white hair.
Well,
there's just way too much.
There is that. But I mean, you think about it, it's probably been way more stressful for this Dick Grayson in this world, so he gets more of the grandpa hair. I do like the design, though, with more of the widow's peak, and just overall, they make him look even more like the regular universe Bruce at this point in the timeline. So, well, yeah, Barbara brings him in some coffee, and they're like, he moves like you, and they're kind of analyzing it. And we see that the Terrys are headed towards Wayne Manor.
And we have another homage to the series with the Kira-looking bike.
Yeah, and then Terry is like, he rounds the corner, he sees it, again, another WTF mofo moment.
It's like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
This place was wrecked years ago. It's been picked over plenty by now. You're not going to find anything up here.
Oh, they found something, all right.
Oh man!
Even further throwback to Rebirth, and that Tony and the Jokers, or Joker Tony and the rest of the gang have tracked down T to. And again, there's just so many parallels to Han Solo and Jabba the Hutt here. It's scary.
Look, Z, I'm sorry, but something big came up. Wait, you're a Joker? Hey, not everybody gets a handed a fancy suit.
And I don't know about if they corrected this in the trade, but in the digital copy here, where what is supposed to be Joker Tony's lines are coming from Top Hat.
Which line?
Well, nothing scares you, McGinnis, right? Only thing I can think of for you, you'd promise me triple creds, then skimp out.
No, it's coming from it's coming from the black guy with the top hat.
Yeah, but it should be coming from Tony, which is on Top Hat's left, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, just a little thing, just saying.
Yeah.
And then Terry finds, you're a Joker?
Yeah. Oh god, I laughed so hard when I first read that.
Yeah.
I really, really did. So the fight happens, and we get Jokers on Terry fights and everything else, and it's an interesting fight. And I like I like the panel of the two of them back to back, and they're like, "Thanks, yeah, all this and all that." I really do enjoy that because I would love to see another story with these two characters because they are two very. That's what I would love. I know this will never happen now that Batman Beyond is now part of the new 49 or the new 62 or whatever the fuck DC's calling this convergence bullshit. But I would love to see another story with these two as Batman.
Yeah.
Teamed up. And I'm kind of spoiling it for everybody by saying Batmen because of what happens here in a few minutes. But oh my god.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw them dive down into the cave, I'm like...
Well, I like you see in like you see like the redesigned, like what Batgirl wore on this universe, and you see the Red Robin costume.
Yep.
And everything. And Terry, I love the line where he moves the case aside and he goes into like the storage locker in the back and he's like, "Oh yeah, I can work with that."
Yeah, and we don't even see. We just because he's got to have time to get ready and get whatever whatever it is on, and
I love the like where he comes back up and you see like the redesigned like it's not even batarangs, they're like bat shuriken.
It's classic looking batarangs, but they're not.
Well, it's more like ninja stars than anything.
Yeah, they're more of like a dart because they're shooting straight at these guys. They're not, going.
Oh God,
they're not boomeranging.
Yeah, you say darts, and the first thing that pops into my head is that ass ugly armored Batman costume that Azrael wore in the '90s comics, where he had like the Spawn claw gauntlets that shot the Bat Shuriken. But anyway, you see this, and T is rescued by
Bat
Lord Beyond,
T's like, whoa, get away from him. And we see this giant black and silver insignia,
almost demonic looking.
Demonic Lord Batman Beyond. And oh my god. Whenever I want some Batman Beyond on my computer, I put this as my screen, as my background.
Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing. It really, really is.
Think about it. A world where there's no crime, no victims, no pain, and no choice. Who elected you, anyway? Who elected you? The problem with democracy is, it doesn't keep you very safe. It has other virtues, but you seem to have forgotten them. I didn't forget. I just chose peace and security instead. You grabbed power, and with that power, we've made a world where no 8-year-old boy will ever lose his parents because of some punk with a gun.
Alright, so we met Lord Batman Beyond. Absolutely amazing. I want that on my wall.
Yeah.
We go back to the Justice League or Lords or whatever, the giant fight, and there's a lot of fighting going on between all these different, the line where, how dare you touch my wife? Wife? What the hell? A lot of fighting going on. Absolutely love the imagery here. I enjoy the conflict between Green Lantern and Kirari. I thought that was cool.
I like the reveal that Captain Marvel in like the main universe is actually Black Adam, and he's doing some kind of like penance or something in this and something that I wish they would have kept the Justice League going. We could have found that out, but tomato tomato. Yeah.
I love the interaction between the two Flashes.
Yeah.
That is so psychological. I absolutely love that.
Which is something I thought was really cool about this new Flash, Danica, that her connection to the Speed Force is such that she basically hears, again, the Star Wars references continue, she hears the Force ghosts of all the previous speedsters, so like Bart, Wally, Barry, Jay, probably Max Mercury and Johnny Quick. But yeah, it's a reverse Danica takes her out, Micron versus Micron, and they go down to like atomic level, and they're evil Micron, who apparently is spliced because he gets fangs and a lizard tongue. And the one thing that I thought was weird is...
You said lizard tongue. All I can think of is dragon. I don't do that tongue thing.
Oh, Mushu. But then you see, like, Barda versus... evil Barda versus Mr. Miracle, and good Barda versus evil Orion, and... I live whatever happened... I would love to see that storyline, because I love all the Jack Kirby stuff, but basically all... like Lord Superman, White Adam, and they all gang up on Barda to take her out.
Yeah. I think where the story really picks up is actually in the telling of the secrets. When old Bruce is like, tell us, and, she's like, it was me. I killed him. And that was, like, that's the part of the story that I care about. Don't get me wrong. I know people, I know you especially, are going to call blasphemy when I say this. I don't care about the Jack Kirby characters. I just don't. Like, I think it's a really cool thing later when Barda and Scott do the whole escape thing. I think that's cool. But the rest of it, I just don't care.
That's fair. I mean, I'm a huge fan of, like, that entire mythology. So I'm just saying, it's like, I love all the Jack Kirby Fourth World stuff with, New Genesis and Apocalypse. I do like that Micron hacks the computers, and they're trying to track down the other heroes, and like, Batman's still here, but it's an old decrepit Bruce Wayne, so Superman's Lord Superman's gonna go take him out, and he's like, Orion's like, you sure you don't want any help? He's like, oh please, it's a Batman. It's not as if I don't have experiments with this kind of thing. And again, the art and that just evil smile on Lord Superman's face, and then we get the thing where Bruce and Superman are confronting Diana, and Bruce is like, tell us the truth. And Diana confesses that she killed Lord Batman.
Yeah. And we go back to the Justice Lord's timeline where Terry and T are fighting Lord Batman. Beyond is fighting with T, and we get the Joker fight, and we get a lot of cool quips and lines out of this.
I like how they show the difference between universes here, and like the catchphrase, it's not shway, it's sway.
It's sway, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh god, they went there.
I'm like, when did Angelina Jolie show up in this book?
Yeah.
Come on now. You gotta have caught that Gone in 60 Seconds
No,
reference.
I got that.
Come on.
I got it. It's just like, boy, you need a role model. But so we see the fight continues, and it's Terry's going through the suit's options, and they got shields, and basically he's got electromagnetic impellers or whatever to use this technology, and it's just the Jokers keep piling on, and he basically uses the EMP shield as like a force shield to push the Jokers back. And then they all drive off, and Joker Tony is like, you still owe me money, Dreg. And T is like, that was unreal.
No. We get the whole interaction between them and Terry. Our Terry asks T about his dad, and we go to the whole storyline of Terry saying of how you know, that this pulled him out of the darkness and everything else. We get all that, which I absolutely love. I love, like, oh, I want so much more with these characters. This is why I want Kyle Higgins to go back to this universe and do a team up with these two characters somehow, some way. But as I've already said in this podcast, it'll never happen, sadly, because DC likes screwing with everybody and doesn't care about the animated universe continuity anymore.
Even though apparently we're getting an animated series out of Gods and Monsters, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, and so I misread that last bit in main universe where Superman. I thought he was going after Bruce. No, he's going after Terry because Lord Superman shows up, and the look on both their faces is like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back to Diana, giving, like, basically telling what happened to Lord Batman, like how she went off to battle and he's trying to synthesize kryptonite and to use against Superman. And, well, it didn't work out so good because Lord Superman smacks around Wonder Woman and sends her plummeting into Wayne Manor, and Lord Batman hasn't quite got the kryptonite ready just yet. And he's got what it looks kind of like, they call it a sonic cannon, but it kind of looks like almost looks like the plasma sword from Halo.
Yeah.
And then we find out that he got faked.
Yep. Because it was Lady Wonder Woman, and our Wonder Woman went to face Lord Superman and everything else, and she goes on to say that, oh, hey, well, in order to convince you, he had to beat me up and blah, 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 and all this and all that. And she, eventually, she gets killed by our Wonder Woman. So they both have lost their loves.
Yeah. And also Wonder Woman, and I think it was a pretty, at least if you know comic books and you're a fan of Wonder Woman in some respects as I am, that where when she, like, Lady Wonder Woman killed Lord Batman, so Wonder Woman kills her evil twin with the golden lasso, and it's kind of like Thor's hammer is, you have to be worthy of it, she says, and you see the golden lasso crumble into dust.
Yeah. And in order to have peace, the biggest shocking reveal of all, our Wonder Woman and Lord Superman had to marry each other.
And I love that, just like where you see them getting married and they're glaring at each other. Superman's like, I hate you. And it's like, I despise you utterly. Just like that. Like, well, and the thing is, this happens in the real world, like marriages of state and such like that.
Yeah. And then we get the whole line from old Bruce, you married him? And the sheer shock, the shock that Dexter Soy puts on Bruce Wayne's face is
Superman,
like,
because you look into the background, Superman's like,
what?
Yeah. Like, he can't, he just see his eyes are pinpricks, and he's like, reboot, cannot analyze. And then you see it's basically, it's like, we never loved each other, we hated each other, but they were too busy to really do anything or learn about each other. Like, they just avoided each other at all costs
until they need to have a son. But yeah, and the whole purpose of her even returning to our Earth is to find her son. And we see, hello, it's me, Zod. Like, yeah, what's going on, guys? Is anyone here? And he's in the Justice League Tower. And that's how this one ends, and that's the end of part 2. I'm loving it. Overall, going back and rereading this, absolutely loving this story. I enjoy the Batman Beyond stuff more than the Justice League stuff, but I love the story that they've given our Wonder Woman and the Justice Lord Superman. Like, I never would have thought to take what we originally got in a better world from Justice League Unlimited to do this.
Yeah.
It's just so awesome. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with parts 3 and 4 after this.
They'd love it here, don't you think? Who? Mom and Dad. They'd be so proud of you. Just drive.
All right, folks. Part 3 starts off with an amazing cover by Trevor McCarthy, with Lord Batman Beyond and Lord Superman going at it. Absolutely love it. And that's one thing I didn't notice earlier when I was reading this in single issues and stuff. Is some of the backgrounds on these covers just simply amazing.
Yeah, especially like this one where you see, the Silver Surfer. I mean, Batman fighting Lord Superman.
Come on now, he does not. The Silver Surfer does not have bat wings.
I'm just saying, the metallic sheen and all that. It's fine. The T-1000. If arose
right.
by any other name, I'm just saying.
Lord. So we start off in the Justice Lord's timeline, where we basically picked off with part 2 of the story, and starts off with, so Bruce found a replacement. I know you're from an alternate timeline, but even still, it's surprising when any version of Bruce gives up control.
And I like how he said, it's like, well, I guess he's more open to sharing when it's not with an oppressive dictator. That's not Sucker Punch!
Yep.
And leads to a fairly energetic battle. Like, you see...
Amazing battle.
Yeah, I mean, Terry traps Superman in this, like, electromagnetic bubble. And,
oh no, that's not an electric.
Well,
no,
force field or whatever. But he says that's why I recalibrated the spectrum. When T is like, you think that's going to hold him? He's like, oh, that's why I recalibrated. Red Sun mode.
Yeah, like that was so ingenious. I love that.
Yeah.
And they go to escape, and sadly, it doesn't really work because we run into the Justice Lord's task force here.
The Enforcers, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Superman, pops the force field and comes after him, and Dick Grayson's there. He's like trying to find them. They climb up on the shore, and we'll meet up at the high school and all that. And then see Batman goes to take them out, like the Enforcers out, and Superman shows back up and he's like, "You and me, let's do this."
Yep. And this, I believe, is the issue that really, like, Kyle Higgins killed me. Like, just destroyed everything in my being when he does what he does in this book. Now, I know they explain it away, and they have really a cool explanation, but I remember when I read this as a digital issue, and I had to wait a week to find... Actually, I had to... because these stories alternated weeks. So one Saturday would be the Batman Beyond story, then the next Saturday would be the Justice League story. So I had to wait 2 weeks to find out what the hell really happened here. But the whole thing with he basically lobotomizes, or it looks like he lobotomizes our Terry.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he tears him up, and it almost looks like he snaps his neck or something at one point, where he's like crushing him around the throat in the cowl.
Mm-hmm.
And he throws him down, and he's like, "Submit or I'll kill him." And then Terry's like, "Look, it's not too late for you. Just tell Mom and Matt that how much I..." And then, heat vision to the head. And it's not like... And it's done from, like, you see Superman shoot Terry, and you see it from behind. That's powerful enough. But then turn around, they got that single panel where he's sitting there, drool pouring out of his mouth, big old smoking hole in his bean.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "String the body up to the statue so everyone can see. There must never be a Batman."
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit.
We go back to, and I'll very much admit, we go back to the Justice League Tower with the war and Zod fighting these people. And while these are amazing action scenes, and I absolutely love Dexter Soy's art, I just, once again, I'm not this kind of Justice League fan.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I read the Justice League 2.0 comic, and like to see where this Zod comes from and everything, and how he kind of tied into the Brainiac storyline and such. It's interesting to see this here, that he is every bit a badass that his father was. And then you see Superman gets this alert from Zod that the Watchtower is under attack, and he freaks on Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman just straight up punches him.
Mm-hmm.
You see that it's like the type of punch that, stuff splinters off buildings 5 blocks away sort of level, and she snaps, and because she's been under this stress of having to live this life, and She goes at it with Superman, and finally Bruce is like, "You're acting like children." He pulls out like a sonic disruptor or something like that.
Yep.
And it's you see Bruce has got like like cameras in there, so he's going to help him out. And she goes on to tell him like what happened, like after they got married and all that, and how Zod came about. And this is where we get the origin of Teen Zod, in that he is literally the.
Oh, please do not call him Teen Zod. This is not Abomination, dude. Come on
This
now.
is Teen Zod. He is a teenager. Teen Zod. Zod. Would you rather I call him Zod Boy?
Well, it's better than anything else, I guess.
Anyway, Zod. We see that he's not the son of actual Zod. He is the son of Art, like the main universe Diana and Lord Superman. And then Brainiac showed up and started wrecking everyone's shit. And essentially what happened is that Brainiac hijacked their son, hit him in the Phantom Zone as a part of a plot with General Jaxer from like the main universe. And apparently the Phantom Zone is it's like a cross tie. It connects alternate timelines and everything, because the Jaxer that Brainiac that takes Zod from Brainiac is the Jaxer that we saw in the Superman animated series, but in the the Batman Beyond timeline, which I thought that was a really cool aspect of the Phantom Zone, that they're like, hey, the Phantom Zone is literally everywhere, because the alternate it connects Earth 50 to the main universe and all that. And I like how you kind of have that subtle nod to this, possibly the Spectre that Diana talks to, whether or not that's Hal Jordan's Spectre or what, but she finds out what happened to Zod.
Yeah.
And then Superman's like, "What?" And again, I love those looks that the artists are giving in either timeline when like a reveal happens like that. Because that's really the only way to describe that. Just what? He's like that's like his mind is officially blown. And then there's Bruce. I thought as much.
Yeah, Bruce is always 20 steps ahead of everybody else. But yeah.
And then so they're basically Wonder Woman. I like that he's never known me. What do you think? Do you think he'll hate me? And all that. And Superman's like, yeah, he's a fine boy, brave, dedicated, sometimes stubborn, too hard on himself, a lot like his mom. And then Justice Lord's pimp in, and I like how Lord Superman is like, contain the old man, Kirari. Batmen are easy to kill. I'll send him to join his protege later. And you just see like the dawning realization / pissed off look in Bruce's eyes. Like he's already thinking about 5 different ways to get out of this and hurt this man.
Yeah, I know. The only problem I have with Dexter Soy's version of Bruce Wayne here is I wish it looked more like the animated series. I wish it looked more like the yes, I can hear Kevin Conroy in my head when this Bruce says lines, but I just wish it looked more like the animated series than it does here, actually.
More Chuck Heston?
Yeah.
Because if they ever made a Batman Beyond movie, they need to get Chuck Heston to play Bruce Wayne. That is the only way that'll work.
Yeah. So Lord Superman has long overdue business with his wife. They go out fighting and says, clearly a divorce is not an option. I'll settle to be widowed. And that's how that one ends. We pick up with the Justice Lord's timeline, and Dick Grayson and T is jailed, and we see the lying dead corpse still in the suit body of our Terry. And Grayson asks him, he wasn't from here, was he? He said he was me from a different timeline, one where he was Batman. What else did he say? That Wonder Woman had come back to his world. They didn't know if it was really her or what happened here. They thought Lord Batman was still alive.
Yeah.
And you can see that Grayson...
He's teetering on the edge.
He's like, this isn't right. There's something going on here. And...
Yeah. He's wavering in his devotion, the path that he's taken in this life, and it's even where this is like, are you really going to string Terry's body up to a statue? He doesn't deserve that. And that sorrowful look that when he looks over his shoulder right before the guard comes up, he's like, the other guy's gone.
Yep, the other guy's gone. And when we open with a panel here of T, and we have a little monologue here from Terry. For the record, Lord Batman definitely knew how to build a suit. Yeah. And I do love the explanation that Kyle gives why he isn't dead, and that it's visual cortex, whatever.
It's basically spellbinder technology.
Yeah, it's basically spellbinder technology, but just the fact that Kyle Higgins had the balls to basically tease us with killing Terry McGinnis the way he did a few issues ago, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I remember, when I read this, Lord Batman's computer is fried. If there was anything on it that could give us answers about what happened, and then, well, there's an idea. I remember when, and sadly, it's not doing it in the trade. I remember, no, it actually didn't. I had to crop it out. I actually cropped out the, well, there's an idea section of that panel, and I made it as my Facebook banner at one point or another after I saw that. So Terry goes into the Batmobile, and he finds a backup, and he, let's see if the same goes for, if you're watching this, then the worst has happened. I failed against Lord Superman, which means the world has only one hope. Whoa, and Terry goes green. Oh, man.
Yeah,
I go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, like, as we go from there, where he gets a "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" sort of message in the down Batmobile, and you see him, he's like, whoa, and we see that glow, and we go back to even more confirmation. Is like, at this point that Grayson is gonna, rebel, and I'm just. There's that scene where those guards are talking smack to T.
No, it's just so stupid. And then a giant bat appears in the background, and it was like, whoa. Yeah. And it takes a while. I mean, he obviously frees T, and the three of them team up eventually, because they want to be able to fix everything and, stop Lord Superman and I
still like the reveal is like, there's nothing you can do. 6 battalions of my men are coming. Bruce couldn't stop him. What makes things you're any different? You're just a knockoff in his suit. And Terry's like, remember the synthetic kryptonite? He didn't finish it. Yeah. About that. I was like, oh, shit.
And yeah, your oh, shit is exactly what's on Grayson's face right there.
And like the other T is just like, sweet. And again, I love the Tron-esque design of the suit, especially when like the kryptonite, the K energy starts running through it like that. I was like, damn, that's good. And, it's just like pinstriping in the highlights, and it's just awesome. We go back to the main universe where, Wonder Woman and Lord Superman are fighting, and, Kurari's coming in, and she kind of helps take out, Superman flips up, and Kurari tags White Adam instead, and then he gives her the Hulk clap and takes out Kurari. And they go back to the Watchtower where, the Justice League's locked up, and eventually they get out, and I did see. I like how they do the. I like how Mr. Miracle gets out, and it's not by picking the locks on the door. He picks the locks of evil Barda's mind, and like he seduces her.
Yep.
And then you see her, like, she breaks down, and she's like all sad, happy. And he's like, I'm sorry. And then he's like, gut punch. And it's just.
And then Reverse Flash is like, son of a.
Yeah.
I got her. Spring the others. And I love the line in the cell. The universe's greatest escaped artist. It's never been a solo act.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing about the Mr. Miracle Barda relationship that I absolutely love. The rest of it, though, I could do without.
Well, again, it's something that was built up over years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's especially in some of the later Mr. Miracle series where it's full on. It was like that one where they had Mr. Miracle in that opening bit from an episode of Brave and the Bold where Batman and him are escaping from this roller coaster of death. Pretty amazing escape there, huh, honey? You know what'd be amazing? If you actually took out the trash. You know, and that's something that later on became more of a statement of their relationship than the whole that they were raised in the word. You know, she's like the strongest woman in the universe, sort of thing, and he's the world's greatest escape artist. And this guy who's like all brain, and this woman that's all brawn, and they fell in love, and it's kind of beautiful that way. But you know, we get back to the Batcave, and you see Lord Superman. Wow, he just like takes out Wonder Woman with the Batmobile, like.
It's like, that poor Batmobile. I mean, like, seriously, what'd that car ever do to you?
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I know by saying that I'm not being emotional towards him basically crushing Wonder Woman with the car, but like, it's Wonder Woman. She can bounce back.
Yeah, and I like that he's like, he's about to take her off. He's lighting up the heat vision, and then Zod out of nowhere. And he's like, you hit hard. What are you supposed to be? Some kind of Superboy? And he's like, I keep telling people the name is Zod. And he straight up lays out Superman, like Lord Superman. And then they're like, did you say Zod? Son? Son? Yeah. And just that, again, WTF look on Zod's face. And
I love the whole thing with Curare later in the cave where she's like, no time for infighting, Orion. We must reduce the odds while we can. Any last words, old man? Yes, heads.
Yeah. It's a trick.
Heads?
Both sides are heads. And I just love that she's just like, heads? Oh, son of a bitch!
I do love the overall main giant fight scene where Warhawk says, and the winner decides the fate of two worlds. I do love how Dexter Soy has positioned all the characters and everything. I absolutely love that. And that's how this one ends. Well, you know, so far I'm still, even though I don't like sections of the story, like with because I'm not that familiar with a lot of the characters outside of what they've done in the DC animated universe, I'm still loving this story. It's so good. So the next one, we open up in the Justice Lord's timeline with the three amigos here, you know, Nightwing, Batman, and Joker, sitting behind a Christmas tree. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a whole other Christmas Carol. You know, and they're, you know, and T asks him, so why are you doing this? I've watched the Lords do terrible things, kill a lot of people, and my friends included. I can't sit around and let them do it to another timeline. Bruce wouldn't let them. It's just like, for me, Kyle is just tugging on all the emotional heartstrings.
Yeah.
He just really is.
And then I love the next page where we see how they continue to highlight the differences and the similarities between Terry and T. And T's like giving every possible excuse / reason under the sun as to why he should not be doing this. You know, and it's crazy, it won't work, blah, blah. And Terry basically says there's no time. And T's like, well, I feel bad about your timeline. It's not mine. It's not my priority. And Terry's like, so what is?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they take off, and he takes off, and then so Terry and Dick, you know, refocus, and, you know, it's like we're going to take these, like, homing beacon badges, they're going to teleport us up to the watchtower, they're going to take them out. And then Barbara comes in.
God. Kyle's just killing us.
Yeah.
He really wanted to kill his fans. He wanted to kill his Nightwing fans from the DC New 52 series and the fans of this series as well because of what happens here.
Yeah.
And like that is the most oh my god moment. It really is.
There is. And like the whole, it's like, oh, I'm just going on a little trip, bud. You know, we'll be back soon. And it's like, I never left, promise. And Terry's just, I love how the look on Terry's face in those final two panels, like it just doesn't change.
Yeah.
And he's just like, God.
What?
Yeah, like, he's just like, oh, mind blown. So, Nightwing and Terry, or Nightwing and Batman, they teleport up to the Watchtower. They're using the suit's cloaking device basically to mask their appearance, and they're going to get up there, and we go back to Earth quick, and T grabs some gear, and he's clearing out.
He looks at the old suit and he's like, yeah, right.
Yeah. And then we go back up to the tower where unfortunately our hero's discovered. Yep. And apparently, I'm the commander, you have to do what I say. And he's like, slag that. And they're going to take out, Nightwing and Batman.
Yep.
It basically doesn't happen because...
T shows up.
T shows up and he, aren't you short for a stormtrooper? Just this guy, and you look at the helmet that some of these guys wear. It looks like a jacked up version of the stormtrooper's helmet. But just as it looks like Nightwing and Batman are about to get their bacon fried, T rescues them, and he's like, "I thought you didn't care." It's like, "I thought you left." It's like I said, "I'm not you, Terry," which means you really don't know me at all.
Yeah. And this was another one that this end panel to this part of the story. This is another one I screen capped and put as my Facebook banner. Man, I hate this part.
Yeah, and I like how Terry, he's teleporting into the fight with the suit, and we get back to the Justice Lords where
Zod is fighting his parents.
Yeah, and he's like, "You're not my dad. Jaxer's my dad." Meh. And he's like, "Lies. Brainiac gave you to him after stealing you from us. Think about it. You have abilities other Kryptonians don't." Doesn't have to think about it. He has microscopic vision. I was like, can we just get, like, a file card that lists what these super beings can do?
Yep. And then, take your hands off my son. And she just bitch slaps him.
Yeah.
To infinity and beyond.
Yeah, I like that though. That Zod, screw it. Like him and Wonder Woman go at Lord Superman. Wonder Woman, take your hands off my son, which kind of echoes that "get away from her, you bitch" from Aliens. And we go back to the Batcave to the fight, and I like how I love this version of Green Lantern. Like he's a Buddhist. He's a very spiritual type of guy. He doesn't really use his ring in like the traditional way. Like he's not even Jon Stewart, and he's damn sure not Guy Gardner.
Thank God.
And so he's like captured his other sister's ring and the sword, and he basically uses his ring to like mentally take down the other heroes. Mm-hmm. And you see that the pain in his face in that one panel is like, not. He did not. This is like violates part of his principles, who he is and all that. So they take down the League, and then Bruce, pipes in a camera feed from where Lord Superman is, and it basically pisses off the rest of the Justice Lords because he's essentially telling his son, "I don't care about anyone else. We'll do this together." Mm-hmm. And then everybody shows up to the party.
Everybody shows up to the party, and then as the fight goes on, we get, it's like that. Is it fine? If I have to stand alone, I will. And we have this miniaturized cannon thing, which apparently Shazam unshazams. And,
Well, it says it disrupts all energies, even magic, and...
Right.
Whereas the one from this universe was done.
Right. Well, he remade Luthor's original, and he had done improvements on it, and but like Luthor, it still burns out its power source after a single use. So I saved it for a true crisis.
Yeah.
And basically, the Justice League has no more powers, and we get a comment from behind him. "Hey, Dreg, got a present from home." Who? Compliments of Lord Batman, and just
Falcon Punch.
it's like Falcon Punch, but it's also like a Vulcan nerve pinch with your fist. It's like, oh my god. And the way Dexter Soy did the art here is amazing. The suit looks great. Superman looks great being knocked on his ass, and so we get we get this, and we get the final battle, and
well, I love the fact that Terry puts up his fight as best he could. He's got the kryptonite laced batarang. But Superman Hulk claps again, kind of knocks him for a loop, and then you see our Superman basically straight up murder Lord Superman. Like he stabs him with the batarang, and then he does the whole paraphrasing what Superman said to President Luthor in a better world, and then he's like, "But then I'd be you, and that would solve nothing." He walks away. And Lord Superman, proving that he's a badass, pulls the batarang out of his chest, and gaping chest wound and all, tries to kill Superman with this, and then Terry catches it, and we're on to the very epic conclusion.
Yep, very epic conclusion, and we have more of a fight between Lord Superman and Lord Batman Beyond, and we get a chest burst. It's like, what if Iron Man had a green chest? Seriously, I was not expecting the whole, oh my god, the kryptonite's gonna come right out of my chest now.
Yeah, because you get some straight up, it's like Batman's got repulsors, so he's blasting Lord Superman with, kind of like how Luthor used his battle suit in those episodes of Justice League. And the League's kind of scattered like 10 pins, and Terry's doing what he can, and then he, like you said, he straight up unibeams Lord Superman. And he just won't, I'm a lord! A lord! Yes, we get it! You're an idiot! And then I think that's, it's, no one actually says that, and then, Wonder Woman whooshes in and lays him out. Or was that, no, I thought that was somebody else, but it wasn't. So basically they clean everything up. Terry goes back with T to Earth 50 to the Justice Lord's time. And you see he gives him probably and this again, emotional gut punch. Where
Kyle's just killing his audience.
It's but in the best way.
I know.
But yeah, so, and he shows him, Terry said before his dad wasn't around anymore, or T said that, and Terry took that to mean that his dad was dead again. It turns out he's just not in T's life at all.
Well, T says, I wasn't honest with you about before. After all this and seeing me and, you almost die, you should have this, even though I'm still not ready for it. And,
But we have
that
just Terry just breaking down and just everything that he's repressed and held on to since his dad died. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I read this, I little verklempt. I got choked up just a little, because that's.
Oh no, I cry every time. Because it's just so heart wrenching.
Yeah, and you go back and you see that he's taken a little bit of made a little bit of a video with his contact lenses, because that's what they can do in the future.
Well, no. The vid link that he talked about in the very beginning of the story, it wasn't in the suit. It was in his contact
through the suit, and in the suit, it was part of the suit in the I'm just saying that he's got this video of his conversation with his dad, and then he shows there's something else, and you see that the top part of his suit's draped over the monitor.
Yeah.
And Dick's giving him this, buck up there, son, and all that, and he shows him, well, I guess you got this, and Terry forgot that was on the monitor, and Dick sees a picture of his alternate universe family.
And Terry's like, oh man, Dick, I'm sorry, it's okay.
So what did we name him? Named him after his dad, John Grayson. He's like, go figure. You sure you're okay? It's an alternate timeline. Things are bound to turn out different.
Yeah.
And I like how you go back to the Batcave, and T is, they're doing in that universe what Terry and Dick have already done in the main universe, that T is going to be trained by Dick, and he's going to be the new Batman.
Yep. And, so we get then and now, and, Lord Superman, goodbye. They put him in the Phantom Zone. Hello, son of Jor-El. And we see Jax-Ur, and I'll kill you, and
he's like,
all this.
We can think. I love, this is a great cliffhanger where we got nothing but time, and we can't hurt each other, but we can think, we can plan.
Yep.
And it's Lord Superman's like, I'm listening.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we do see a very bittersweet, reunion, like with Zod and Wonder Woman, and she's like trying to reach out to him, and he's pissed off that he knows that Jax-Ur was using Zod. Like, Zod knows this, but he's pissed that his parents didn't try harder to try and find him.
Well, no, he's pissed that his parents are basically using him as well.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But he knew that Jax-Ur, like, once he knows, like, when he first was rescued from Jax-Ur by the Justice League, like, he knows it's not his real dad. It's just, he's pissed that, he's got real parents, but initially they didn't plan on using him or they wanted to use him for nothing more than, like, this bridge between worlds and such. So he doesn't want anything to do with Wonder Woman. And
is there a story out there somewhere where Danica Flash is the star? I would love to. The one that has the Speed Force voices in her head. I would love to read that.
Yeah, I mean
if that actually is something that's out there.
Well, there's just
awesome.
the storyline that introduced her in, I think it was the original Justice League Beyond series.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's the only star. And then she kind of showed up a couple times in the Batman Beyond series, like that was previous to 2.0. I do love the whole thing. The whole Scott is in the doghouse so bad with Barda,
Yeah.
And and Bart is pissed at him. And evil Bart is like, even gods can die.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And then we got, they send Curari back. They send, Lady Aquagirl back, and she's like, ask him out. He's kind of a puss. He won't do it. And I just love the sour look at Warhawk's face. He's like, shut up.
Yeah.
And we got like the whole thing with the Danica Flash and Reverse Danica and Micron, and it's like, I'll decide, yada yada yada. And I do like the way they end it, where the remaining Justice Lords are like, they're going back, they're going to try and rebuild their world, but White Adam's like,
you're not welcome.
Yeah. and I like,
we need to have new and different ways.
I still. But yeah, it's like, you're not welcome here anymore. You're the old way, old ways and such like that. And then we have, back in like the Watchtower, Bruce is kind of going to be around to help out and whatnot, and they're trying to figure out how to do things. Wonder Woman's going to try and reconnect with the Amazon somewhat. Mm-hmm. And then they have the whole Zod's like, just stay the fuck out of my way.
Yeah. And then we have Superman and Bruce. Superman's like, Bruce, whatever problems you and Terry have, you should really try to fix them at our age. At your age, you still haven't learned when to mind your own business.
Yeah. and I like how, Bruce is still pining for Wonder Woman. He's like, if you need a place to crash, I got like an entire wing of my mansion that I haven't touched in years. Yeah. Just saying. And he's like, damn, Bruce.
Yeah.
And I do like the final shot is like where Superman's saying, like, I know the future couldn't be in better hands, and you see like that last shot of the Justice League Beyond.
Yep.
Which was great.
Yep. And that's how it ends for that one. Now I'm trying to remember, did they do something specific, or did it launch right into, oh man, I can't remember. Did Batman Beyond launch straight into Mark of the Phantasm after this?
Yeah.
Or did it do... Okay, yeah, it does. It does launch straight... Yeah, it does. That's right. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with some final thoughts after this, and we'll also rate the story overall. We'll be back in a moment.
Ah, brave new world that has such putzes in it. You know, kids, a lot has changed while your old Uncle Joker's been away. New Gotham, new rules, even a new Batman.
It isn't 65 years in the future, but Legends of the Dark Knight has gone beyond. Batman Beyond, that is.
Ah, the new boy. Ears are too long and I miss the cape, but not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
Join Steve and Mike as they delve into the remaining episodes of the podcast, where they'll cover Batman Beyond, products, games, and more. Check it out only on GeekCastRadio.com.
All right, folks, we are back here on the Pullbag Batman Month, talking Batman Beyond 2.0, Justice Lords Beyond. I love this story. I really do. There are certain things here and there that I just, like a lot of the Justice Leagues fighting each other. I want kind of less of that, but overall, the story with Terry and T, and the story even with our Superman, Bruce and Diana, I love all that. Overall, I gotta give this a 4.5 out of 5 because it is good. There are just a few art choices that just look kind of weird to me is all, but the story is absolutely amazing. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. Like, I would give it a solid 4.5, almost a 5. It's just, again, I didn't dislike the art styles, but going back and forth, it did get confusing somewhat. Because you really get into like the Earth 50 stuff with T and Terry, and then you go back, to the main universe where the Justice Lords are fighting the Justice League, and it's not a strain. It's just kind of like, okay.
Well, see, for me, with the art styles, I love Tony Silas's art throughout the entire thing. Absolutely amazing. Love it all. What I love about Dexter Soy's art is more so his art of the Justice Lords, not his art of our Justice League. I like his art of our Justice League and Bruce and Diana and all that, but like I mentioned earlier, that Batwing, I want more of that Batwing. The designs on the way he drew and colored Lord Batman and our Wonder Woman together. I love that style, but you're right. I mean, reading it in trades might be a little jarring for some people. At the same time, I don't think you can just read one story or the other. You have to read the whole thing.
Yeah, no, you can read either one, but
you should read both.
Yeah, see, and it's specifically, in order for the Batman Beyond chapters to make sense, you have to read the Justice League, whereas the Justice League, you can, by and large, read that series without having read the Batman Beyond, and it still makes sense more or less until the end where Terry pimps in with the Lord Batman Beyond suit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, like, it was great art, a great story. It's not quite it's not quite as solid as, Return of the Joker and Epilogue were in, like, kind of bringing a close to that. Well, this thing. Just let me finish. Just saying, like, whereas it's just like those brought it to a very satisfying conclusion. I just think this brings a close to like this chapter very well. It's not an end to the story.
Well, yeah, this brings a close to the what they basically did here was they said, hey, let's do A Better World parts 3 and 4, or parts 4, 5, and 6, or whatever else. And they basically took the genesis of A Better World two-parter from Justice League and made this story out of it. And this is, for me, it's a satisfying ending to a real finality of the A Better World two-parter.
Yeah.
From the cartoon series. So in that respect, I think it's a great, finale for that story. And it's a great finale for the Justice League comic characters here. What I wish we had a little bit more of was a little bit of an epilogue or a little bit of, and I know we'll get this in the next trade and whatever else, and we got it in the next issue, but I wish they had put just a little bit of an ending, like a little bit of an after page with Terry going back, even though that's where digital issue chapter 25 picks up. I get that, but just reading this in trade, it ending on the Justice League thing, I just kind of wish it would have ended on Terry.
Yeah.
But no, overall, absolutely love this, folks. At some point, Steve and I will be doing the Mark of the Phantasm stuff, but I'm still waiting for solicits on that trade. We got the DC June, July solicits recently, and it's not listed in them, so maybe it's not coming till August or September or October. I don't know when the final trade for the series is going to be coming, but I do. Between the Rewired story from last week with the first arc of this Batman Beyond 2.0 series and this story, it was a nice evolution overall throughout the entire story, and it's going to continue. I can't wait. That's going to do it for Batman month here inside the pull bag, folks. It's a little shorter this year. Last year we kind of went overboard with 13 podcasts for the 75th anniversary of Batman. But this year we went, a little bit less, and I think it's one of those things where we will have one more episode where we talk about a completely different Batman. So Batman month isn't over just yet, as I just misspoke about it, but it's one of those things where my goal was, as I've said before, to cover different versions of people in the Batsuit, and next time around we are going to be entering the gates of Gotham, where Dick Grayson is Batman? Huh? So, hope you'll join us for that. Where can the people interact with you online, sir?
They can hear me every so often on Comic Book Connoisseurs, which is another comic podcast I do with Ben from Animation Aficionados. And if you're looking for me, I'm at JT from Saskatoon on the Twitter, and also JT from Saskatoon on Instagram, where I post funny pictures and I make snarky comments.
I still have not gotten the appeal of Instagram, but okay. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.